if this was Brazil, for example, and it was a load of Brazilians waving Brazilian flags, no one would call them racist. But when we raise a British flag or an English flag, we're labelled racists. I was in Ghana, in Africa, earlier this year. My sister lives in Ghana. Ghanaians really don't want Nigerians coming over the border, but no one calls Ghanaians racist for that, or prejudiced, or discriminatory, because it's not. We have to put our country first.
I wanted to join the army. Yeah, I wanted to fight. I wanted to fight back in the day when they were doing the Falklands. You know what they said to me? I got a criminal record, you can't go and fight. You can't represent our queen because you got a criminal record. But my criminal record is now 25 years old and they still hold it over me. No matter how much work I've done with the kids, no matter how much I try and help them, no matter how much I talk to parents all the time. I tell them, get your child in order. But they're not allowed to. And they're not allowed to because this government brought in this law that you can't put your hand on your child. You can't discipline your child. You're not allowed to discipline your child. Now, don't get me wrong, you know. I know there's abuse in this country. I know that people abuse their children. But don't take away the right of law-abiding citizens who want to control their children. Yeah. When you have a 17-year-old son that is 6'3" and is built like Arnold Schwarzenegger, you're going to tell him he can't go out.
Yeah.
Now, I come in, I'm 6'1", I might have a chance. But the only chance I'm gonna have is by bringing him down. But I bring him down, what happens to me? I go to jail.
Yeah.
I go to jail and I'm called a child beater. The next thing I'm on some register.
Yeah.
Yeah. And nobody knows my story, but as soon as they see your name on the register, well, that's it, innit?
Yeah.
He's a child molester. He must have been troubling some children. Something like that. Not the fact that I'm trying to help these kids. Help them every day. I know where I live. I see the kids every day. I just have to look out my window and see them down there, smoking weed, doing nothing, arguing amongst themselves. Yeah, I know what they're smoking. They're smoking that skunk stuff. Skunk. And we know what the skunk does. I ain't gonna powder coat you or anything. The skunk messes up their mind. It messes up their minds. It sends them more violent. Yeah. And then what comes down to it? It came down. I'm down Clapham Junction, and there's boys that I know, and I'm telling them get out of here, and they're telling me to fuck off. Because they want those trainers because they ain't been able to buy those trainers because the government gives them £30 or something, and now they want to cut it, right? They take away their clubs, the clubs that I used to help the kids. We used to do a bit of boxing just to burn up some energy. They take away the clubs, and I get some asshole telling me to shut up. How can you tell me to shut up somebody who lives in it?
Yeah.
They can't afford the university.
Right? Please, let's not even go there.
Have you guys seen what is going on with the riot? When I tell people there's racism in this country, I'm sure a lot of us are aware of this already. Some people like to go, no, there's no racism, people are not racist. This country, United Kingdom, is the home of racists. The way they are so racist in this country is crazy. So, what had happened in Southport, a black guy murdered, unalived 3 white kids. Don't get me wrong, I do not support that. Like, that guy should be put away for not even longest time. I wish they can bring the sentence back. You know the sentence where they can unalive people. You unalive people, you get unalive too. I wish they can bring that back because really that's what that guy deserves. Because how on earth, like 3 little girls, what have they done to you? I don't support that. But look at the way all of these white people have come out of the woodworks to riot over the weekend because of that. I'm not saying that was what the guy did was right, okay? Do not misquote me. But do you know how long white people have been killing black people in this country? They're still getting killed. And we can't even talk as well. Like, it makes no sense. Like, the riot last weekend, this weekend that just passed, what was it for? They want to take back their country. What country? Well, United Kingdom. And the funny thing is, I've seen on TikTok, after all of that rioting, they're going to go to the nearest kebab shop to go and buy food from. An Afghan shop, an Iranian shop, a Pakistan shop. They're going to go to Indian takeaway, Chinese takeaway, but then they want to take back their country. Like, when I tell you this country is the home of racism, let me give you an example of what happened to my son recently. I live in a remote, white remote area. Don't get me wrong, there's some few nationalities here, but it's mostly white people. My son, my older son, and his little brother went to the park to play football. And whilst they were there playing football, they were in a court playing football. So the brother must have kicked the ball, and the ball came out of the court. There were a group of white girls sitting by the bench, about 7 or 8 of them, sitting by the bench, and one of them took the ball. And my son looked at him and went, can you throw back our ball and give us back our ball? And the girl was like, ask nicely. And my son was like, what do you mean ask nicely? This is our ball, you took it. And it wasn't like my son kicked the football at the girl. No, the ball did not go anywhere near her. She decided to hold on to the football. So my son was like, he came out of the court like, can I have my football? Like, can I have my ball? And he was like, ask nicely, your mother didn't raise you right. So that triggered my son. One thing about my son, don't curse his mother. He will curse you back. However, I have raised my son not to ever raise his hands on a woman. So he wouldn't. That's how I've raised my sons, yeah? And then the next thing, this girl started being racist towards my son, calling him all sorts of names. So my son brought his phone out and started to record it. The minute they started being racist towards him, calling him all sorts of racist names. And you know what really hurt me the most from all of this conversation? There were a group of black boys hanging around the white girls. They heard it and they acted like they didn't hear nothing because they were interested in the girls. So my son started recording it, and the minute the girl saw that my son was recording her, she ran away, yeah? My son came home, I got back home from work that day, he showed it to me, he showed me the video. I was like, oh, okay, these girls were cursing him, cursing his mother, cursing his entire family. Don't get me wrong, my son mouthed them back too. My son cursed them back, but he just did not go near them to fight them. Again, I have raised my son not to ever raise his hands towards a woman. But if anyone opens their mouth to abuse you and curse you, curse them back. Curse them back. It doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman. Curse them. Give it back to them. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. That's how I've raised all of my children. Don't be the first to fight. Don't start a fight. But they talk to you and I read to you, be rude back. Give it back to them tenfold. My son came home to show me the video. As soon as my son showed me the video, I was like, are the girls still at the park? He went, I'm not sure. I said, let's go there. Because clearly, you can beat girls. I can. Because these girls were a bunch of like 18, 17, 20, 19 years old. I went to the park. I got there. These girls could not talk. The minute they saw me, they couldn't talk. I was like, oh, and then they were trying to turn everything. I was like, you guys were being racist. It's all recorded on the phone. My son got his phone out and played it. They all kept quiet. They couldn't talk. And I looked at the girls that day. I said to them, listen, have you heard of the word aggressive black woman before? I am her, she is me. I am not shy to claim that title. I promise you. Because it's 2024. Why are you still being... And this is a group of young girls. Like, you will think older people are the racist. The younger generation too are racist. They are. Because this is a group of teenagers. And they were racist towards my son. I had to tell the girls, next time you see my son on the street, walk this way. I am a crazy mother. Don't dare. And the black boys that were standing there, I said to them, you guys should be ashamed of yourselves. Like, you see one of your brother. You know the way she's being racist to my son. She's also being racist towards you. But you guys can't think right now because you're young boys with something dangling between your legs. So you're thinking with that because you wanted those girls. Like, racism in the UK. This is just a sneak peek we saw from the riot. There's more coming. There's really, like, they are brewing. There's more coming. But you know what? We're waiting.
scene in the Hare Hill suburb of Leeds this morning after a night of rioting which saw locals rampage through the streets. Just behind me is the smouldering wreckage of a double-decker bus that was set alight during a night of violence that only ended at 1 a.m. this morning. A police car was smashed up and rolled over as tensions boiled over following an incident at 5 p.m. yesterday which saw social workers remove 4 children from a nearby home. Hundreds of locals in Hare Hills poured out onto the streets, throwing rocks and bottles and setting fires before the police tactically withdrew from the area. Wheelie bins were also torched as the violence continued. As many as 5 police vehicles were damaged during the disorder. The fire service even refused to send crews in because of the ongoing danger presented on the ground. Today, West Yorkshire Police are at pains to insist that this was not the result of growing tension in Hare Hills, but the result of an isolated incident that sparked this unrest.
In the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And as Morana mentioned, please, nobody mess around. Yes, people get emotional. People get, overcome with emotion. Because we must start here attacking mosque. And we are not of them. The brothers are here, they know what they're going to do, inshallah. Self-defense, British law, we have every right 100%. To defend ourselves. And we've seen in the video clips how the British police are being violated when they are supposed to support and protect us. They have come and protected us, but the reality is we will do our protection ourselves. And message to Keir Starmer is we don't need your funding. We will fund and protect the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Kai, atampiri, eka, ragazzi, asamaba. Mwanka samani tiasa nkremofo wei, almost ati tietiem, ala wakuma, nachase. Utim se dia on fire. Ay, sapa pepe. Say, dia akwa kusino no. Nkremofo ne hunu se, abrofo no, menka se UK for abrofo nyina, omomye racist no. Omoso omye demonstration, enye demonstration almost says and Cremophoniema and black community no most says and Yamano. I said, was a macato said, a tuntun for a coward, Koda Kibadesta Wada, Obesha Fiamia Baba Bikuno. Aye, but en Cremonidia with Piaba Bontin was say the Shannon Sunumukran say, Omo air baba attack the house of Allah. Internodumun man and can a British law no, you will be boo my friend the self defense. Because Oma Hunu no news from the police for no cry boomo. Police for now was baba baje umuno yebumo. Ente say when e baba bejumo, they need to self-defend themselves. Any kwan so mo tena ho e man krofo ne day e be attack omo. No me so me protect omo sore omo ma eni omo yeremo. De bia na meka no. Me say sa arabfo we die. Me tu omo so na masore. Me tu omo so na masore. By this time Koda kia don pen ho asem. Eno se fie ne atoto ne ma bro ne windows mu yesese ne do enyara foi pa na abrofui akoka ma bia kokom na nkeye Koda ki fo nkwa ke betina fie mu akunkum yanyu Koda ki ba this time waka ne fufuo bi di te bro ne kura be kuno baka so de ma mentwa kontomo ba kwansa na mawu eso arabu ni wa pia ba bonten wo se eye eye to eye ena esien so ne se wode woni ba metu wode wo hone ba mewo wode wo se ba meka. This is the energy that I'm talking about. Yes, tina make a Koda ki protect na time na yo mo UK hano enye nkwase fo asem. Udi agro obi ekun ama komado yem.